Hey everybody, happy Monday. I am back. Barely. Sorta. I'm back. And I'm excited to be here. I hope that everybody had a wonderful weekend and I am super looking forward to this week. I hope that you guys are starting to concept your projects because you're going to be wanting to shoot and turn them in soon, and this is going to be fun and exciting. So welcome back to the 14-day artist journey. We are on day 11, I think. I don't know. We're in it for sure. We've had so many amazing guests and so many wonderful conversations, and hopefully we're all working our way through the 14-day photo artist journey journal that you guys have gone and downloaded that. If you haven't, make sure that you go to the photo artist journey, the 14-day photo artist journey. We're going to drop a link in here for you. You're going to want to register because everyone who registers is getting a free canvas wrap print from ProPrints. Thank you so much, ProPrints, at 20 by 30. And today, actually, someone who is on the call and participating with us is going to win a 32 by 48 photo canvas wrap, which is totally awesome. So hang in there, ask some questions. We'll be talking to you. I have a guest that I'm really excited to talk about this morning. But before we get to that, I'm just going to recap the 14-day photo artist journey for anyone who might be new and showing up. So what we're doing is we're going through a process. We're trying to humanize the process of being an artist and make it a little bit less intimidating and build a community where we can all grow together. So that's the journey we've been on. And we're going through 4 different phases. Phase number 1 is self-awareness. This is where we take stock of all the things we're brilliant at. We commend ourselves for them. We lean into these skills. And also part of self-awareness as looking at the places where you might have gaps in your skill set and or obstacles, whether they are perceived or real. And we just have to be aware of those, because if we're not aware of them, we cannot move forward. So it's kind of like a taking inventory sort of thing. So we take inventory, phase 1. Phase 2, we learn about vulnerability, and we learn that it's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's actually the strongest state of being. Being vulnerable is the strongest you can be. And so we learn about that, and then we make an agreement with ourselves to be vulnerable in the presence of others, i.e. our community and the world at large as artists, right? And then the third phase is, building mental fortitude through being brave. And we have established clearly that being brave isn't just going out there and doing things in the absence of discomfort or in the absence of fear. Being brave is actually going out into the world and doing things that are a little uncomfortable, doing things outside of that comfort zone, doing things that you might be a little bit afraid of, doing things where you're potentially going to fail. We talked yesterday about running towards that pressure point where you're going to break and fail. You're going to run towards failure as quickly as you can so you can learn that lesson from it, right? So we start working on doing that and knowing and understanding that when we make those mistakes, when we step outside of our comfort zone and we're doing things we're not quite sure of, that's the place where growth happens. That's where all the beauty comes from. This is the place. It's the place we're all afraid of, but it's the place that we get the most out of. And that's the purpose of this photo artist journey. A big part of it is that we start moving that way. And then understanding that all of the artists that you look up to, all of the creatives that you look up to, probably the majority of the people that you admire and you look up to, they might seem to you to be very well crafted and kind of perfect, but there's no such thing. There is perfectly imperfect, but there is no such thing as perfect. So we're talking to a lot of artists who are sharing, the difficult sides of their journey with you so that you can lean on their experience as well and not be intimidated and fearful of trying those things. Because in our current landscape with all of the socials, everybody shows up so perfectly curated, and it's freaking intimidating. It's intimidating to be an artist in a world where all of the artists that you look up to are just showing up so beautifully curated and seemingly perfect. So we're going to demystify that. We've been demystifying that and letting you know that we all go through these journeys. And if we're not going through the journey and we're just moving for the destination, we're not living. It's not the destination that's important. It's the journey that's important. So that's what we're working on. And then the final phase is vision. So those first three phases that I talked about, 1, 2, and 3, they're a continuum. There's something that you do on a regular basis. They are not a one and done. There's something that, like, if you become self-aware, they usually happen on a daily basis. I go through those phases several times a day, every single day. And it's a reprogramming of your brain, like, right? So the more that we do this, the more that we just start doing this naturally. And the more that we start doing this naturally and leaning into this, the more comfortable we are with going outside of our comfort zone, the more we learn, the more we grow, the more mental fortitude we have for when we make mistakes, fall down, when we learn, right? So it's a great process to go through. It's something that's incredibly important for us as artists, but also as creative entrepreneurs. It's incredibly important. So we get to the point where we're more capable of building our vision for the business we want to have, the art that we want to create, the way that we want to live, the areas in which we want to grow. And so having that vision lets you set yourself on a path that you want to be going on. And by the way, that vision can change all the time. It does for me. As I'm growing, the vision changes. I go in different directions, and that is okay. We don't have to be on one path forever. We're going to hear about that today. It's an important part of our journey. But before we do that, I just want to talk about our vendors really quick. The wonderful brand supporters who are sponsoring us. So we have ProPrints, who's doing the 20 by 30 canvas for everyone who signs up. We have a discount code from Backdrops by Jeremy. All of this is going out in an email to you guys every day. All of the codes are going out to you. We have Stella Pro Kits. They are a supporter of this as well. Their lighting kits are currently on sale also. I just bought one. Y'all might want to go take a look at them. Myself personally, The Art of Emotion, Stripped Down, we are doing an $800 discount on the upcoming course. Then we have a 10% discount code from AIBP, and Homespun Heart is doing a 10% discount. And Tailored Body Jewelry is also doing a discount as well. So those will all go out to you. I'm not going to name them all out for you right now. But thank you so much to our amazing brand sponsors. We're so grateful for all of you who are supportive of the artist journey. So right now we're actually starting to, on the 23rd, we're going to start taking submissions, the 23rd through the 27th. So now's the time to start working on those creative projects. And then we're going to be judging those images between April 30th and May 4th. And on May 5th, the winner is going to be announced. And you guys are going to get some really great giveaways. But more importantly, you're going to be stepping outside your comfort zone and growing and doing something awesome. So with that, I want to bring in my guest today, who is Jeremy Ellsworth, who is one of our brand supporters and who creates beautiful backdrops. And I'm super excited because I'm tearing apart one of the sets in my studio. And I am just going to be filling it up with tons of backdrops, many of them being his because he creates beautiful, gorgeous backdrops. But he has a wonderful, wonderful story that I want to share with you guys. I think it's incredibly inspiring and I have some stuff in common with him. So this is going to be a fun conversation. So with that, let's bring in Mr. Ellsworth. Hello, sir. How are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know that this is a very different kind of like, hey, can I interview you as an artist? Because usually when we get invited to do these kind of things, they want to hear about, how awesome we are. And today I do want to hear about how awesome you are. But I want to hear about how awesome you are in the ways that you just totally like ate it. Like,
Yep.
fell flat on your face and like picked yourself up and then kept going. Those are the awesomes that I want to hear about. So thank you for agreeing to be vulnerable with us and sharing with our audience that there is no such thing as perfect and things change and we grow and we evolve and it's okay to make mistakes and it's important to step outside of your comfort zone and doing things differently. And I love your heart and that you're willing to do that. So thank you so much for doing that. So with all of my gabbing, let me turn it over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, tell them who you are, where you're out of, where they can find you. And then I've got some questions to ask you.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Ellsworth. I am based out of Kansas City, Missouri, so dead center of the United States. You can find me. JeremyEllsworth.com is my photography website. Backdrops by Jeremy Ellsworth is where you'll find my hand-painted backdrops. Both of those, that's how you'd find me on Instagram as well. So if you type my name, chances are you're going to find me.
Awesome. You guys go and find him because his backdrops are amazing. So let's talk about this. You're a portrait photographer, but you're also a painter.
Yes.
So how did we get there? Like, actually, you know what? Before I even ask you that, when did you know that you wanted to be an artist or creative? Where did this journey start for you?
So my artist journey started when I was a little kid. As cliche as that sounds, I remember when I was 3 years old. I don't know if it was they didn't do like take your kid to work day, but I was at my dad's work with him. And you're 3 years old, they throw some crayons at you and some paper and say draw. And I drew the owl that was on the Crayola crown box at the time. And like that's my earliest memory of being creative. And even from that point, I knew I want to go this direction. And I grew up wanting to be an illustrator and draw cartoons. At some point during my high school life, I bought into the idea that I couldn't make money being an artist. And unfortunately went into the corporate world and did that for 16 years, and it sucked the life out of me. And luckily I got a clear head and and went back into a creative career with photography and now also backdrops. So
that's interesting that was I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm glad that you got your way out of it. That's amazing. But it's interesting. I think the school system is very much set up to, personal opinion here, it feels like our school systems are set up to turn us into worker bees, as opposed to, really fostering any type of, interest that we have, whether it be in the arts, as an illustrator or writing or any of these things. We really get pushed towards like careers that are going to, so society says, make money, right?
Right.
Corporate America, accounting, sales, teaching, nursing, doctor, all of these things. These are the things that are kind of more like exalted, as opposed to, things in the creatives. I remember one time I was having a conversation with one of my professors. Well, actually, one of my professors in college was standing with us, a bunch of us students, as we were having a conversation, and he was involved in the conversation as well. We're all talking about our majors and what we want to do when we finish college, what our plans are after college. And he got angry and he was like, I don't understand when it went from, you go to, college to get a degree to go do this job, from you just go to a place of higher learning to be educated. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Why aren't you just coming here to be educated? And as a single mom at the time, I was like, single mom world problems, bro.
Sure.
But, good for you that you just get to be an artist, because he was a poet and a writer and all of that stuff. But I was like, I've got shit to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it had been drilled into me over and over again that I had things to do. But later, when he said it, I was like, wow, interesting concept. Like going to school just to take the courses that you want, to be educated in the things that you want to be educated in. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if our schools did that, period?
Yeah,
Right?
I think it's tough because I believe there are teachers that obviously just want to help the kids, whatever that looks like. I think society as a whole, unfortunately, has, especially when I was growing up, I'm hoping it's getting better. But it really was. You're created to be a worker bee, and you have to go do something that's going to support your family and support the economy and all of these other things outside of you. When you're a kid, you're just like, no, I just want to do this. This is what I want to do. And it really can be like soul crushing to go, oh, you mean I can't just draw? I like drawing. I just want to learn how to draw better and chase that dream. But yeah.
But you did it. I mean,
did it.
you did. You took a little left turn there.
Yeah. And you learn from that. So
but then right. So you did that thing, but then you came back to what you wanted. So but you didn't come back to illustration. You came back to photography.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So my wife is a teacher. She's actually she was a high school teacher for 8 years. She taught social studies. So keeping track of history and having documentation of what's going on, firsthand documentation. So she was the picture taker in our family at the time. But it was more for having evidence than it was creative. It was just like, I just want to know that this happened and have proof that this happened. And we were somewhere as young adults that her point and shoot camera got stolen. So for her birthday that year, I bought a new one, thinking we need to replace that. She's going to like that. And then I ended up playing with it more. And, it was a point and shoot. It wasn't anything fancy, but it had a few creative modes on it. So I played with it and learned and was just like, this is pretty cool. I wonder what I could do with a real camera. And through lots of research and long conversations, because cameras aren't cheap, especially when you're not making money and you just want to do it to learn. To learn, cameras aren't cheap. So it's like, okay, how do we do this? I want to learn this. Let's go. And finally, my wife's like, okay, let's go look and see what we can find. And bought a Canon 40D kit and ran with it. And it was just like, let's go take pictures of everything and go on drives and take pictures of nature and take pictures of my sister-in-law who's a senior in high school and whatever, whatever you can do. And, like I'm sure a lot of people, when you start taking pictures and your friends and family notice, oh, he's taking pictures or she's taking pictures and they're good at this. Or even if you're not good at it at the time, oh, you want to take our pictures? Right. And when you're starting out, you're like, I'll take pictures of anything. I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And at the time it was a lot of learning and a lot of mistakes and a lot of bad photos. But I got lucky early on that I landed with a community of photographers that I trusted and that were willing to share information and help me along the way. And I ran with it.
That's awesome. So, and by the way, guys, this environment, you're in a place like that.
Yes.
Everybody here is welcome. You don't have to be, at any particular place in your journey. Wherever you are in your journey as a creative is perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. It's okay, because there's always room for all of us to grow. So that comparison and the I'm a noob or I'm not good enough or maybe I'm too far along for this, none of it's good. There's always room for growth. And here there's always acceptance for wherever you are on that journey. So why don't you tell us about a time during this transition? Because that couldn't have been easy. I know myself transitioning from working for the world's second largest software manufacturer and pulling in a good yearly salary. I mean, I worked for SAP America. I did very, very well. In sales, I did very well. So transitioning from that to going back to wanting to be a creative, there was a lot of bumps in the road for me. Sure. A lot. So can you think of a time where there was like a bump in the road and you were just like, oh, this is too much, I want to quit, or something that was just like, oh, right on your face, but that being a growth experience for you and you're glad you leaned into it?
So just to be very real, let's see, it's been, how long has it been? 10 years since I left corporate America. First year was great because I was doing my own thing. And then I fell into a really dark depression. Things weren't going the way I thought they would. All of that idea of that you're not providing, you have kids now, what are you doing? It really ate at me. And I spiraled, like diagnosed, you are severe depressive disorder. You need help. And there were lots of points during the few years that I did not address it, where it was like, I can't do this. I don't have the drive in me. I don't have the ability to think this through. Maybe I'm not cut out for it, because some of you may know, some of you don't. When you have that type of mental illness with depression, you tell yourself a lot of lies that you think are true. And in reality, none of it is. But your brain isn't currently wired correctly to allow you to understand that none of it's true. And it has been a long haul to pull myself out of that, through counseling and therapy and medicine and all the things. So that was a huge, not just in photography and creativity, but life as a whole. How do I get out of this, as a stumbling block? Because when you can't even think about getting out of bed in the morning, how can you think about running your business? Or all you could think about is, I have to make sure my kids get to school. And that takes all of your energy. So it certainly is a journey, to continue pressing forward and every day going, I can do this. And I think no matter where you're at in the journey, there are always ups and downs. You're always going to hit roadblocks that you have a decision to make. Which way do I turn? How do I get over this? But to answer your question, the biggest thing that hit me was my depression, and having to, along with help of other people, pull out of that, in order to be able to focus on what I wanted to do with my life.
Well, thank you for being so open and sharing that. That's really one of the things that we've been talking about during the photo artist journey. We haven't really addressed like depression or the spiral that can come from when you're used to being kind of a high achiever, and then maybe you're not meeting those goals or doing those things. And we talk a lot in the Art of Emotion class, and we've been talking about it here as well, is that, we have a lot of roadblocks. All of us do. And that's why the first phase of this journey is awareness. We have to take stock. And there's a lot of things that happen in the subconscious, as you know, you just talked about them, where whether it's coming from depression, or if it's coming from a place of anxiety, or if it's just programming that's in there from when you were little, like you're just not smart enough. Gosh, you're cute, but you're not very smart, or it's a good thing you're so cute because you're so mouthy, or whatever messages were, right? We all have some of them. And unfortunately, they become a negative thought pattern, right? And your subconscious is in control 97% of the time. That's bananas, right? The 3% is conscious function. So whatever is stuck back there in the subconscious, if you don't start recognizing it and changing those negative loops by being conscious of them and saying, nope, that's not the truth, that's a lie, this is actually the truth, and then making the choice, this is the direction that I'm going to go in, you will continually live in that place. And it can come from a whole lot of things. It can come from clinical depression. Again, it can come from societal values that have been put upon you. It can come from traumatic experiences with peers, parents, all of the differences. We're full of them. But the key here, and the most beautiful part of this message and this interaction that we're having right now, is that you are living proof that is a place that if you are mindful and aware and you go through this journey, those are things that you can change. And I think that you'll agree with me. I am constantly working on those loops. I have so many of them, it's ridiculous. And that's why I say that continuum, the three things, they're an ongoing process. It never stops. There's so much back there. It's insane. And if it's not back there today, I'm going to have experiences over the next couple of weeks that are going to put some in there. And then I'm going to have to continue challenging them and telling myself the truth and moving in the directions I want to. So that's awesome, because you just proved to the audience right there that if they work those 3 steps, they can get to where they want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're amazing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, I think, it's much easier for creatives as a whole to experience depression, because we're typically more emotional people.
Yes.
So we have we ride that wave of emotion all the time, even outside of any type of mental disability or disorder. We empathize and we feel. It's what we do. So being able to take control of those thoughts has been one of the biggest learning things for me in this whole process.
Yeah.
To be able to stop that negativity and go, no, that's not true.
How big of a part would you say that is of like the creative process? Because in my class I teach, that's like one of the very first modules that we go into my class, which is I'm teaching a photography class. People get in there and they're like, why are we talking about mindset, failure tolerance, and the subconscious? And I'm like, because this is so integral to the creative process. It's unbelievable. If we don't get this stuff in check, there might not even be a creative process
Right.
for you. So that's my personal opinion on it. What do you think? How important do you think it is for the creative process?
I mean, I think the creative process is such a wild ride, because those blocks literally block you from being able to create.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all the desire in the world to want to sit down and draw or go take a picture or sing a song or whatever your creative outlet might be. But if you're going, there's nothing there, I can't do that because of whatever it is you're telling yourself, that's preventative from being able to open up and explore your imagination and your ideas and really build on what you want to do.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it's 100%
Yeah.
a huge part of being creative. And that's not just being able to take a picture.
Yeah.
It's being able to see in a way that's going to create artwork for your client or for yourself or whatever that is.
I think I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Legitimately, people come into my class like right in the beginning and they're just like, what? And I'm like, please just trust the journey. We have to go through this, right? Because I'm quite certain that they would never be able to access the information, the skills, and the tools that I bring to them for them to use in the creative process if we did not at least create some awareness around that. And that was a big part of doing the photo artist journey because I've taught so many students and I've kind of like broken down like the process of how they learn and these blocks and like, this, oh my God, perfection paralysis kind of stuff and all of those negative loops getting in the way. I've seen people not be able to access information and move forward because of it. And so I think it's incredibly important. And I'm just really grateful that you guys, this wasn't scripted or planned.
No, not at all.
I'm so grateful that you talked about this today.
And I do also want to say, and I'm not discouraging anybody from being in business, but I also want to say we're in a world where so much we're told, turn your side hustle or whatever you do is for fun into a side hustle. Go make money off of whatever it is you're doing. And sometimes we just need to have an outlet to create. I still draw. I don't make money off my drawings. Sometimes people will reach out and say, hey, can you do this X, Y, or Z? But it's not something I'm pursuing because I need a creative outlet where I can just sit down and do without worrying about how am I going to make enough drawings to pay my bills. And there's nothing wrong with not making money being creative.
Yeah.
It's okay to just be creative.
I again 1,000% agree. I feel like we've been talking about this through the whole photo artist journey, and that's it. Another one of the things we're doing is we're encouraging people to go out and do something that's just a creative project, right? That is not a commission. That's something that's just going to make them happy, and it can be taking this photograph, but it could be something else. We've talked a lot about having other creative outlets outside of photography,
yep.
so that we can kind of create for ourselves. As creatives,
Yep.
sometimes we just need to create for ourselves. And with portrait photography, it is a very collaborative thing. And then the other thing we've talked a lot about is how toxic the environment is right now, how like the toxicity that we are getting from the messaging that we're getting, like, take this marketing class. All you need is a kit camera, kit lens, my marketing class, and 10 poses, and you will be a 6-figure photographer in 6 months. And the pressure that is putting on people. And sometimes it happens, but it's almost like playing like roulette at the blackjack. Like, you really just don't know. It's not the norm. The norm is we have to go through a process of learning and growing, not only in creating our art, but also, for goodness sakes, in running a business.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
having those two be, harmonious, it's a lot of work. And so I think there are a lot of people out there who the message is constantly from education in the photography industry: 6 figures, 6 months, 6 figures, 6 months. We hear it over and over and over again. And that's what people think they have to do. And then when they don't do it, they feel like failures.
Yeah. I think it's very rare that you have those, for lack of better terms, overnight successes, because 6 months is an overnight success. I've been at this for 14 years and I'm still struggling. I mean, I love what I do and I love being a creative, and I'm doing okay, but I'm not blowing it out of the water on a daily basis.
Yeah. I think one of the best things someone told me, I was like, I just want this to happen. I want it all now. And she's someone who's very large in the industry. And she said, Denise, it takes years to be an overnight success.
Yep, absolutely.
And I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Right.
I'll just keep plugging away. It's going to take me years to be an overnight success. Okay. And that's what we see, right? All of a sudden, they're not on our radar, but they've been working back there for years and years and years to make it happen. And then whoop, they're on our radar. And we're like, oh, then where did they come from?
Right.
That was overnight. No. It took years to get there.
Right. I've been here for decades. Yeah. This is not.
Me too. Almost 2 at this point. It takes a lot of work and a lot of ups and downs and a lot of bumps. And they're all okay, because they're all growth experiences and learning process. And Jeremy, you wouldn't get to where you are right now with, being a portrait photographer and also creating the beautiful backdrops that you do, had you not been going through this journey the entire time. Yep. And you didn't start yesterday and or last month or even last year. And now all of a sudden, like, here you are. Like, it's been a journey. And you just want the audience to understand that it's okay to go on the journey. And I'm totally with Jeremy. We don't always have to make money on the things that we're, passionate about. I understand a lot of us do. And that's a good goal to have. And you can work towards it. But don't let the pressure of the current messaging that we're hearing in the industry right now make you feel like a failure, because it's taken me a long time. It's taken Jeremy a long time. It takes most people a long time to, hone and fine tune these skills and create this harmonious balance between knowing how to run this business and also being, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it, an artist who is creating work that is worthy of the type of, pricing that you want to charge. That's another thing. Doesn't matter what your work looks like. Go ahead and charge whatever you want. Yep. I'm going to call bullshit on that one too. It does matter what your work looks like, right? Like, it matters. It does. I'm not going to go buy a $3 million painting I'm never going to go buy a $3 million painting, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go buy that like massive artwork by someone who started painting yesterday and doesn't know what they're doing. I'm going to buy it from the master, right? So I'm going to go buy the Dali, or I'm going to buy a Warhol or something like that. At that kind of money, I'm not going to go buy something that was painted by, Tom, who started 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So there's a fine tuning and honing your skills that's very important as well. I'm just going to check the comments really quick and see if you guys have any questions for Jeremy. I know that I'm seeing a lot of comments like, yep, I feel it. Let's see. If you guys have any questions for him or for me, feel free to drop them in. It feels like a lot of people are really, really relating to you. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's important. We need to, I think also we work as creative entrepreneurs, we don't work together, right? So oftentimes we all feel so isolated. And then a lot of the Facebook groups too are real toxic and, that we go and we interact in. And so we don't have a lot of good community where people are being honest about the things that they struggle with, and other people can be like, damn, okay, I'm not supposed to be perfect. Everything isn't supposed to be, rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
There's cloudy days sometimes, some days I'm, Eeyore, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's that's what we're trying to do right here, right now. So thank you very much for doing that. So let's talk a little bit about your backdrops, because I'm excited about that. And if you guys have any questions for him, come on in. But I want you guys to understand, and you did it perfectly, Jeremy. Again, wasn't scripted, but couldn't have been any more perfect. They want to have the discount code. We're going to be sending that to you guys in an email. I haven't used a lot of backdrops. I have one place in my studio where I put up black velvet, and sometimes I'll pull up backdrops, but it's always just such a pain in the butt, and I'm over it. So I'm like really ready to just like completely dismantle one of the sets in my studio and just build it out to be backdrops. And I'm seeing like a lot of like reinventing of the old and making it new, and it's fresh, and it's exciting, and it's fun. I'm seeing like, a person standing in front of like a shorter backdrop. It's not even a full length backdrop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're standing in front of it, and then you see everything off to the sides too. It's not like completely the backdrop. I'm seeing backdrops out in fields where it might be full length, but then you can also see that the backdrop is outside. I'm seeing backdrops used so much more creatively, people kind of pushing the envelopes with them, and it's cool and fun and interesting and new and exciting. And I want to jump in and try it. Like, I love seeing like a bunch of different textural things happening with backdrops. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about like some of the trends that are happening with backdrops, and then the backdrops you're creating. And I imagine creating backdrops as a portrait artist, as a photography portrait artist, must be a lot different than people who just paint backdrops and they're not photographers. I would think you have a very unique, like, creative view and vision on how you create your backdrops as a portrait photographer.
I mean, not to downplay what other backdrop painters do, but I would think that there is certainly something to be said for the fact that I'm in the shoes of the people that are using the backdrops as well. Just because I can look at it from a photographer's eye and say, okay, I need to balance this side with this side as far as textures are concerned. Those types of things that might throw off a picture when you take it, because it becomes a distraction as opposed to complementing what you're creating. So I certainly think there's something to be said for the fact that I can relate to what people who are using the backdrops do. As far as trends, I mean, you touched on a lot of them. I think there is a resurgence of even just using them in studio, but it's not the same as it was. It's not Olin Mills. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names of other businesses. It's not. It's not those types of, hey, we have these really cool backdrops. It's not like that. It's this resurgence of contemporized. I don't know what the modernization of.
There you go. Beautiful word.
That classic look in studio, with the lighting and those things that allow you to amplify and complement what you're creating. But I agree with you. I think you're seeing a lot of people, both in portrait photography and wedding photography, going out in public or in places and putting a drop up, whether it's a full size drop or something smaller. Just one, by putting a backdrop out in public, like if you go out to a field, so many times the horizon line behind them is a distraction. So you're trying to play, where do I take this shot from so that tree is not coming out of their head, whatever it is. but you can put that backdrop behind them, still have your backdrop stands there, and create this really cool image, but your subject is still the focus because there's not those distractions.
Yeah.
And it's unique. It's different.
Yeah.
I've seen some big name wedding photographers doing backdrops now. They'll take their bride and their groom out and put a backdrop up out on a beach and take portraits. So it's been
so
cool for me to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so for it. I'm
Yeah.
so for it. It's so good. I think we've seen, I'm getting all excited now. Because we're talking about new innovative, art things. We're pushing the envelope with art, right? And that's exciting to me. I think, I can shoot maternity on a backdrop. I can shoot boudoir on a backdrop. I can shoot beauty on a backdrop. I can shoot high school seniors on a backdrop. I can shoot a family on a backdrop. I can shoot headshots on a backdrop. I can shoot, you name it. I can shoot it on a backdrop like this. So this is exciting, right? It gives me a tremendous amount of variety. I think we have seen a lot of V-flats and very painterly backdrops that are very kind of stoic and Rembrandt lit and all of that kind of stuff. And for a while there, that kind of became the rage, right? The backdrops had a big resurgence with the resurgence of beauty photography, right? But everything looks exactly the same.
Yes.
It all looks the same. And I'm just like, I'm right. Just me. That's me personally. Yeah. And perhaps as photographers, because we see it so much, we're like, oh my God, I would never want my photo taken like that. Just because we see it so much. I don't know if that's bleeding over into the consumer world yet or not, but I would imagine at some point, just like with Olin Mills, right? That's like, oh God, I don't want that cheesy photo taken.
Right.
It becomes like so oversaturated and so done that we're just like, ugh. So finding new, fresh, exciting ways to use backdrops and understanding like how many possibilities that we have with them. I'm so excited. Like I want to do all the things we just talked about, except for like the snoozy things. I don't want to do any of that.
I mean, a lot of that is it comes with style preferences and how you see things. I mean, as an artist as a whole, backdrops play into your creativity. Yeah. It's there to help you complement what you're doing. So I do a lot of custom backdrops. I have some on my site that are for sale that I've painted, but a lot of what I do is people reaching out saying, I need a backdrop in these colors. Yeah. What can we do? And they're building something specifically for their studio or their portraits that they can then either continue to use or no, I'm going to use it for these style of sessions, whatever that looks like. That's the great thing about backdrops, and you can use them anywhere. I mean, if you're willing to tote them, like that's the bigger ones they're not like super light. So you probably want help if you're going out to a field with a 8x10 backdrop. But that's the great thing about it is you can create however you want and change the look of a downtown alley or a stream in a field, whatever. Backdrops allow you to see it a little bit differently.
I just thought of a personal project I want to do. You just an idea. This conversation just like lit it up. I want to take like a smaller backdrop, not an 8x10, something like smaller. And I want to go shoot it in like 15 different locations and see what 15 different things can I do with this backdrop.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm excited about doing that now. Yeah. That's on my bucket list for this year. We're going to have to talk after this call so you can get that backdrop going. I want something and I want to go shoot it in 15 different places and see what I can
love
create.
Yep.
Yeah, right. That would be so much fun.
I'm such a believer in personal projects. I found my style because of personal projects. So 100% on board with.
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. And so, and I think the idea of like, you're right. A backdrop is very much about like, whatever backdrop you end up having in your studio, whether you use backdrops or not, it's all very, whether we like them or not, it's all very subjective, right? Like an art is subjective. So we all have our own opinions about it. And it is very much about our own personal styles. However, I think the idea of taking what we know backdrops as right now and kind of turning it on its head
Mm-hmm.
and doing some new and fresh things with it is like, it's brilliant. I think
Yep.
this is a brilliant idea.
Yeah. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm actually my own personal project. I'm trying to figure out how I can turn backdrops into some type of wearable item
Ah,
so that I can create portraits, whether it's wrapped or whatever that looks like. I'm still playing with the thought process behind it, but I'm like, how can I use this as part of the portrait, not just a background to the portrait, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That sounds interesting. Yes, I can't wait to see you do that. That's exciting. That's so exciting. I would encourage you all, if you don't like, I love having my black corner to just so that it's just clean. I just have something where there's no furniture, no nothing. I just get to go in that space and like create without the distraction of anything else. I have other backdrops as well. I just don't have space for them. I have a lot of the old, I don't think Drop It Modern is even making backdrops anymore, but I have a lot of the old Drop It Modern backdrops. I have a ton of them. But I'm going to make space and I'm going to start throwing out my backdrops and start using it. I'm going to buy some smaller and I'm going to go outside. I'm going to the beach with them now that you said that. Like, I
Yep.
thought about that. I'm going to take one into a cave. I'm going out in the forest.
Yes.
I'm gonna hit like a San Francisco street with one. Like
Yep.
I'm gonna go in front of a wall full of graffiti. Like I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna get down with some backdrops. I'm gonna have fun. I think they provide a tremendous amount of um, uh, uh, versatility for
Mm-hmm.
us as portrait photographers. They can either be a place that's very clean, where you can really just focus on your subject, or they can be beautifully textural and add to the story without
Yes.
detracting from your subject. So, if you don't use them, I would suggest that you have a something or other and maybe try. I think they're a lot of fun.
And
Um,
I think I saw a comment on somebody painting their own. Go for it. 100%. I'm a firm believer that anybody who is willing to have the patience and has the room to do it should try. I actually have a list of all the, and I can get that to you, Denise, a list of all the stuff you would need to start with, and all the links on Amazon where you can buy it. So if people are interested in trying to make their own, I'm an open book. I will answer questions.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, if you hate the process, by all means, come back and look at my website. I can help you. But if you can create your own, it is so therapeutic to sit down and paint not sit down, I stand, but to paint a backdrop, just to go and spend a few hours painting. I recommend everybody try it.
Yeah. I've tried it, didn't like it. It was a waste
Right.
of time. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of money. It was a waste of resources. I crumpled them up and I threw them out. To me, my time is more valuable spent doing other things. I would rather have someone who does it professionally and does it well create it for me. But if you want to DIY them, then y'all go for it. But me, I got other things to do. I'm gonna let someone else do it for me.
And I relate with that as well. And that's why I have a business, because there are people who don't want to do it. And that's great.
Nah, I'm not, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
No. I did try it though, and I think there's something to be said for trying it.
I think
you really appreciate the people who do it.
Right. It gives you an appreciation of,
yeah,
wow, that takes a lot. You know, and you could get into it. I start small. Don't be like, hey, my first backdrop is going to be a 10 by 15. Do like a 5 by 7 or something smaller that is manageable. But yeah, by all means, try it. Figure out if it's something you want to do again or if you hate it. But again, as a photographer, it helps you appreciate what you see in portraits that other people are putting out. It's just another aspect of what we do, and being able to go, that's cool. I know how they did that, or I wonder if I could create something like that. It's just a different way to look at it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It has been wonderful speaking with you.
Yes.
Thank you for opening up and being so vulnerable. Honestly, I don't think you could have hit the nail on the head any more than you did, unless we would have like scripted this call, which absolutely did not. You guys, I just got back into town and like barely jumped in here and was like, okay, are you ready to go? I'm sorry, I didn't give you much prep.
Oh, you were good. That's good.
At all. But it was wonderful having a conversation with you. I'm so excited to start using some of your backdrops. And again, I'm just so grateful. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for being the brilliant artist that you are and being such a wonderful example to everyone else that we can do it and being real about it. Like, that's so incredibly important. You guys, you need to go check out his website. Go check out his work. I'm gonna be getting backdrops, and I am going to be doing some stuff with them, some really upside down Alice in Wonderland, backwards kind of like, I'm going to get as creative as I can with them. And then I'll probably also do some classical stuff with them as well. A little bit of both. Just going to play around and create beautiful work that my clients are going to love and that I'm going to love as well. Right. So with that, let me check my phone. We should have a winner for our backdrop today. Yep, we do. Let's see. Let's get into them text messages. There we go. So Diane, I don't know how to say your name. Diane, who's a student of mine. I should know how to say her name. Seguin, I think. Diane, you won the canvas. Yay. Congratulations. You. And guys, don't forget, it's time to start working on your creative projects. So start getting that going because you're going to want to start submitting. We're going to be interested in seeing stuff on backdrops if you have backdrops, especially with everything that Jeremy and I just talked about, right? And then Jeremy, if you could put together that list for us, that would be awesome. We'll post that for you guys in the Art of Emotion group. So we'll do that. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your beautiful heart and your soul. Your service and the beautiful things that you put out in this world, and for sharing that journey with all of us. We all need that little like pickup, like, oh, okay, we can do it. We can. And we know it takes years to be an overnight success.
Yes. Yes. And just don't give up. Even on the hard days, don't give up.
Yeah.
Something that came through, not to make this longer, that I written something a long time ago on Facebook that came back a couple weeks ago about how even on the storm cloudy days, there's still evidence of the sun, and we can choose whether or not we see the light from the sun or the darkness. And it's all a matter of perspective. So we just have to have the perspective that there's still light. It could be a little bit gray outside, but there's still light. We keep going.
I don't know about you guys, but I think we should have Jeremy on every day. What do you guys? I think we should have him on with us all the time. Can we just keep you and have you on with us all the time, honey? That would be fantastic.
I'm open whenever you want to have me back. I can come back.
He's right, guys. It's so about perspective. We choose the realities that we create. Another thing that my partner Lacey likes to tell me all the time is you can do the hard things for a little bit, right? Right? You just persevere, do those hard things for a little bit, and then work on changing that perspective as you're doing them, and we'll get there. And all of the pressure, preconceived notions that you're putting on yourself about what you have to be or what you're afraid you're not, or maybe even what you're afraid you are, you really need to start examining those things. Nothing changes. I think Jeremy's going to agree with me on this. Nothing changes on the outside until we start changing things on the inside. Yep. So this community is here for you to start changing things on the inside. Let's do it, and let's create beautiful things in the world, right? Yeah. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. This was such a good way to start the week. Thank you so much. You lit up my heart. This was a great conversation. Everybody, thank you so much for being here and participating. I will see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to have an amazing week. So I'll see you all soon, and be on the lookout for that email with all of the discounts, because we've got some great discounts from Mr. Ellsworth as well. So I will see you guys soon. Ciao, everybody.